I always was horse crazy as a kid. I remember clearly when Secretariat won the Triple Crown, and he was an average horse with this big heart, loved to run. Aerie was founded in 1993, and today we are the #1 equestrian footwear and apparel company in the world. About 15 years ago, we expanded the business from primarily riding gear to work footwear and apparel, and that was really primarily targeting essential workers. Our team is about 550 people, but we're really a family. When COVID hit, everything changed. We knew that there would be an impact on the business. And we knew we had a commitment to our team, our team's families, all the essential workers that we support, all the retailers that we support. As our online business became more important, Google Ads have played a huge part in us reaching our existing consumers as well as new consumers.
As an omni-channel company, COVID really taught us all how important it was to be in the online space. That diversification was everything for us. What we found with Google is it's a fantastic ecosystem where we can build a full funnel strategy and drive brand interest and affinity at the top end with YouTube, and then go into Google Ads and be able to deliver more promotional messages. So we were able to spend about 5 times what we spent year over year. And that campaign delivered online sales of more than 7 times. So we had our second best month ever in the history of the company online in the month of April. Heading into fall holiday, we're going to continue with this full funnel approach. We're really confident it's going to help sustain growth for the brand.
And from that success, it gives us a real feeling of pride. Looking how we've been able to take care of not only the company, but our team, their families, our essential workers, and all the people they support.
In the wake of the COVID pandemic, we are navigating new and uncertain territory. This year, we've all experienced the perfect storm of health, economic, and political challenges that are changing the way we work, play, communicate, and participate in the broader economy. Many of these changes were well underway, but the pandemic has accelerated the pace of that change, jolting us years forward in a matter of months. And businesses have been forced to adapt. You saw this firsthand with Ariat, a predominantly brick and mortar retailer who made a significant pivot online to focus on e-commerce. This allowed them to meet the needs of their customers and drive incredible growth, increasing their sales by 7 times during the pandemic. I'm Sarah Travis, Director of Retail at Google, and I, like many consumers, have experienced a significant change in how I shop. The first memory I have of this change happened at the beginning of the pandemic, when I had to quickly adjust and prepare for remote learning for my 2 daughters. Like many of you, I turned online to research options. I needed a Chromebook for both of them to be able to engage in their schoolwork and with their classmates. And I saw that I couldn't get any delivered in a reasonable amount of time. So for the first time ever, I turned to curbside pickup at a large electronics retailer. And within an hour, I had the Chromebooks and I was officially converted. Since then, I've done curbside at several retailers, and this is a change in my behavior that will forever be part of the way that I shop. And I know I'm not alone. Consumers have changed their behavior across the board. They've changed the way they consume media, with 85% of viewers reporting that they're using YouTube more since March. They've changed the way they interact with brands. Almost a third of US shoppers told us that they purchased a brand that was new to them during the pandemic that they will continue to buy. And they've fundamentally changed what they need when they say they're going shopping, with in-store, curbside pickup, as well as delivery. Shoppers are now more open than ever to try new services like online grocery, with searches for best grocery delivery having grown globally by over 700%. More than ever before, shoppers are turning online for their shopping needs. US e-commerce penetration grew more in the first few months of the pandemic than it has in almost the past 10 years. soaring from 16% to almost 30%. And as we head into the holidays and beyond, we expect these behaviors to stick. Almost 75% of US shoppers who plan to shop this holiday season said they will shop online more this season than they have in prior years. And a similar percentage said they will browse online for gift ideas, not in the store. But what are the implications for retailers this holiday season and beyond? Retailers face change, but they also face opportunity. We are all grappling with the changes that this year has brought, whether it's balancing family situations or the heavy work of store closures and layoffs. We've heard from so many of our customers, retailers like you, about the challenges and about the opportunities that this tumultuous year has presented. In my conversations with retailers like you, I've heard things like, our historical approach to forecasting and planning totally breaks down in a year like this. You've had to get creative with how you fulfill customer orders and serve those customers, especially given shipping constraints. And you're not sure about the role that your stores will play this holiday season. With shoppers moving online more than ever, you see the opportunity to bring in new customers, but you aren't sure how to continue engaging and retaining them. You know your customers, but in a tumultuous year like this, their needs and their behaviors are changing, so you are working to satisfy that dynamic demand. Retailers are still focused on meeting the shopper with what they want, where they want it, but with so much change and uncertainty, meeting shopper demand means completely rethinking how you run your business. Despite all of these challenges, we're seeing how you have shown up in this moment, compressing 3-year digital plans into months and sometimes weeks. You're not waiting. You're finding the opportunity in this moment to future-proof your business, and you're preparing for a holiday season unlike any other. Michelle Gass, the CEO of Kohl's, said, COVID-19 is the great accelerator. In the midst of the pandemic, Kohl's was able to launch curbside pickup in 2 weeks. We're hearing many stories like this, and we're seeing many retailers beat this challenge and coming out stronger for it. So what are the themes that we're seeing across retailers about how they're taking action on what matters now? Today, we'll talk about the dramatic shift we're seeing this year of shoppers moving online, with e-commerce share almost doubling in a matter of months. The question isn't if this is happening, it's how do retailers capture this demand, particularly with so much still unknown about what shopper behavior will look like during the holidays. Amid changing and frankly uncertain consumer behaviors, retailers are leading into automation to meet the customer when they're ready to be met. They're also feeling the urgency to get their data house in order and to connect that data with tools using machine learning and automation to make sense of it all real time and to find that customer connection. We'll hear from Petco about how they met demand using data-driven marketing approach to implement services and scale their e-commerce. We'll also hear from Walgreens on how they drove customers safely into their stores and grew local sales through digital channels. And finally, in the wake of this disruption, consumers are buying from new brands more than ever. We'll hear from Lululemon on how they reached new customers by inspiring at-home fitness seekers through branded content. It's about being ready for whatever comes next by being ready to take action on what matters now. This holiday, Google is here to support you with actionable insights to grow your business while also ensuring you stay in control of your brand. We can help you take advantage of automated solutions that help you dynamically connect shoppers to your site, app, or stores. To help you be ready for what's next, we have some great content for you. Today, you're going to hear from Google's Head of Ad Insights, Justin DeGraff, on the latest consumer trends we see at Google as we head into the holidays. You'll hear from writer and industry influencer Mitch Joel on the trends he sees in the wake of the pandemic and the lessons for retailers. We'll also talk to Google's President of Commerce, Bill Reddy, on how Google is making commerce more accessible for all merchants and building more helpful experiences for all shoppers. We hope you find this helpful as you get ready for an unprecedented holiday season and beyond.
As we enter into this year's holiday shopping season, we've all heard the words: unprecedented, unknown, unexpected. And while a lot has changed, a lot has stayed the same. I'm Justin DeGraff, Head of Ads Research and Insights, and today I'll be sharing a mix of bespoke research and unique to Google data that hopefully helps us be comforted in how much stays the same, while also being ready to act on what's going to be different. If my house is anywhere near the norm, there have been a lot of new behaviors in the last several months. Well, needing haircuts has stayed the same. How we get them done has changed. That's my 3-year-old sitting down at Dad's barbershop, the bathroom in our house. To make that happen, I needed clippers, salon scissors, and a cape. 3 things I've never bought before. And I found them from a new retail site I've never visited before. But I know I'm not alone, because recent research we've conducted shows that over 30% of shoppers have purchased a brand that is new to them, and another 32% of shoppers have shopped at a retailer that is new to them. When it comes to holiday shopping, our research shows that nearly half of holiday shoppers bought from at least one retailer last season that they hadn't bought from before. Let's dive into what we expect to stay the same this holiday shopping season. People may not be able to get together, but they still want to find the perfect gift for their loved ones. They still crave the holiday magic, and there's always great comfort in tradition. I've spent a lot of time listening to shoppers talk about gift giving, and almost everyone seems to truly enjoy giving gifts, some even more than receiving them. In fact, 60% of shoppers say that finding the perfect gift is one of the most important aspects of holiday shopping. They look forward to making their gift recipients feel happy, loved, and appreciated. At the same time, people want to be perceived as good gift givers. What makes the best gift is also going to stay the same. We've learned that these are the gifts recipients would never ask for or buy themselves, but would use and enjoy. To the gift giver, the ability to find these gifts ultimately reflects a deeper appreciation for and an understanding of the recipient. The selfish gift givers will stay the same. You know the ones, the people who give a great gift just so that they can see and feel good when it's being used. Sorry to say, there's no escaping that. Oh, and one more thing that might always stay the same. Gift cards may feel like a last resort, but over 75% of people say they're good gifts. And Google searches for gift card online has grown globally by over 100% year over year. Go on, gift cards. But this holiday season, how, when, and where people do their shopping will be different. We see them turning online more than ever to browse, explore, research, and buy. People will still shop in store, but I'm going to come to that in a minute. Last year, we saw 58% of shoppers reported purchases were made online. And while it's hard to predict future behavior, our research shows that almost 75% of US shoppers who plan to shop this holiday season said they will shop online more than in previous years. A similar percent said they would browse online for gift ideas, not in store. Our search data is showing a dramatic shift to digital across many categories, not just a few. Searches for online gift and online clothing stores and baby clothing stores, each of those have grown globally by over 100% year on year. And we're seeing 400% growth or more year on year on searches like art supplies online, fashion online shopping, and meat delivery service. It's not just a move online, but also how they're shopping online that's different. First, they're starting their gift shopping earlier, like right now. As of the last week of July, more than 1 in 4 holiday shoppers said they had already started making purchases. Supply chain disruptions from the spring has left a lasting impact on perceptions for the holidays. We've heard that 2 in 3 shoppers are planning to shop early to either avoid crowds or avoid items being out of stock. This behavior, though, it's not just for the holidays. We've seen in Google search data that gift inquiries for all occasions are going up as people turn online to find ways to stay connected to each other through gifting. Look, birthdays happened before COVID, but the growth in searches for birthday gifts is still up 70% year on year. Gifts for mom, up 100%. Gifts for her, up 70%. Keep these increases in mind as the next wave of behaviors turns towards holiday gifting. Second, they'll be even more focused on value. COVID has, in many ways, reset the consumer expectations on what they need or want to buy. We're used to seeing searches for deals, coupons, best prices. Deal seeking, that's not new. But we're seeing new behavior now, a rapid growth in looking for quality and price. Searches for best affordable have grown globally over 60% year on year. That's a word combination we haven't seen grow like this before. And when we see new combos like this, it's a signal to my team that there's a larger shift in consumer needs and behaviors. And we expect these behaviors are going to continue into the holiday season. Third, more searches for inspiration, ideas, comparisons, and online shopping. It means that more purchase decisions are being made online. We're even seeing growth in things like everyday essentials. This shift, it's been slowly progressing for years, but our data highlights an acceleration. Okay, that's a glimpse at what we're seeing change online. Earlier than ever, value through quality and price, more decisions being made online. I said we'd get to in-store behaviors, and here there's a lot more different than what stayed the same. I'm sure you're familiar with the phrase FOMO, fear of missing out, but have you heard of FOGO? We're increasingly hearing shoppers tell us about their fear of going out, FOGO. As of now, just 17% of US holiday shoppers say they won't be shopping in store this season. But for the vast majority that will be looking to stores, their experience is going to be different. Hey, shoppers, they're nervous, they're stressed. In prior years, holiday gift giving produced a certain amount of anxiety in many people, like Jackie. She told me that she likes to take on that stress of getting the right gifts for her loved ones. And this year, with an ongoing health crisis, there's added concern about safety. That's new. 44% of US consumers say they're nervous about shopping in store, and a similar amount say that their shopping in store is more stressful than shopping online. I mentioned that more decisions are being made online. That means the store is increasingly being reduced to a transaction point. Shoppers, what they're doing is consolidating their behavior, spending less time browsing in store, and they're limiting their touching of products. But the most striking behavior changes are shown in our search growth for things that happen before the store visit. Okay, let me give you some examples. Searches for available near me, they've grown globally over 100% since last year. Searches for click and collect have grown over 600% globally year over year. And searches for curbside pickup have grown an astonishing 3,000% globally year over year. By the time they come into your store, they've already decided what they're going to buy. As we're looking ahead to the holiday season, some things will stay the same, like finding the perfect gift. We also need to be ready for what's different. Like we covered, this season, the how, when, and where people do their shopping is going to be different. We see them turning online more than ever to browse, explore, research, and buy. And I wanted to move into a quick recap of what we're seeing. There's been a dramatic shift to digital across many categories, not just a few. Shopping online earlier than ever, seeking value through quality and price, and more decisions being made online. FOGO, fear of going out. Shoppers are nervous and stressed. Discovering and getting inspiration online so that the store is increasingly being reduced to a transaction point. As you get ready for the holidays, I hope these insights help you build a resilient plan. Up next, you'll hear from Mitch Joel, the founder of 6 Pixels Group, an advisory, investing, and content producing company that is focused on commerce and innovation. His first book, 6 Pixels of Separation, was named after his successful blog and podcast is a business bestseller. His second book, Control-Alt-Delete, was named one of the best business books of 2013 by Amazon. Please join me in welcoming Mitch Joel.
Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to Think Retail, Google's big event. I wish I could be there in person, but I can't. But here we are. This isn't a virtual background. You're actually in my home. It's a 100-year-old home. And this is the one room that I didn't change because, believe it or not, I called this my thinking room. And it is. It is the space where I think, where I write, where I read, and get my work done. So welcome to my home during these crazy, strange times. And I hope that one day we can do this very soon in person again. Incredibly crazy times that we're in, aren't we? This sort of moment of transformation, the moment of disruption seems to be hitting us in a very, very profound way. And I think that this cartoon by my friend Tom Fishburne really nails it in a funny and true way. Isn't that what the best comedy does? How are we seeing the world today? How has this forced us to move in a very digital first way? Did it force? Was it a plan? Was it an acceleration of it? We've been talking about this, at least I have, for close to 3 decades. And I'm really excited, believe it or not, about this moment in time. I think that it is an interesting moment in time. Some may look at this and see this as the Great Depression, and I'm not going to make light of what's happened. This has not been easy, and we are not down the road where we know exactly how this is going to end or play out. But it is a moment in time for us to reflect. Are we going to see this moment where the disruption has been so tremendous as a form of destruction? Or are we going to look at this moment of disruption as an opportunity to move forward? And so instead of looking at it from the perspective of the Great Depression, I tend to be more of an optimist. And I see this much more as the Great Compression. It's the compression of all the things we've been talking about for so long. The compression of actually building retail as a digital first entity, as that sort of anywhere, anytime, shop the brand. It's a world we're in. I know Google's already talking about this sort of acceleration. So they'll call it the acceleration. I'll call it the Great Compression. Google is known, not that long ago, to talk about the ZMOT, the zero moment of truth. And what's happening is, I think at a philosophical level, we have to think about our retail environments just a little bit differently. We need to think about the big difference, and I think there is a big difference between shopping and buying. When people go to the store, when they go to the mall, it's a shopping experience. Yes, there are some that are very transactional. They know where to park and get in with as little of retail on them as possible. But for many, it's a social experience. It's part of their day. It's a way to engage with the outdoors and be a part of it. And it has, to a certain extent, been taken away from us. For now, a little bit. Depends on where you live and how it's playing out. On the other side, if we think about e-commerce and what we've been doing in a digital world, it feels to me like that's much more of a buying experience versus a shopping experience. It doesn't feel the same. It's not connected in the same way. And I think what's happening now is we're seeing the shift, right? We've all heard the data, the data that e-commerce was about 15% of all commerce that was taking place. That number shot up to well over 40, close to 50% during this pandemic. Is it going to go back to 15? It probably won't. It takes about 30 days to create a habit. What we've had is the entire population come online and start understanding it in a very, very different and dramatic way. And what I challenge retailers to do is to think about that. Think about your digital experience. Is it an experience where it's purely transactional, or have you created a shopping experience there? It's a very different way to think. How do you make your shopping experience a better buying experience? And then how do you make your buying experience a better shopping experience? And that's the sort of difference for me, because even within all this, I've gone down to the stores and I've been in the malls lately, and I can tell you that it's a very sterile environment. I'm not feeling the experience that I typically feel. It's not exciting to me. It can be a little bit intimidating depending on who you are. And so while it's done for my health, it's sterile for my health, I believe that it is ultimately pretty deadly to my experience. I think ultimately if it's not fun to go and it doesn't make sense to go and I can just do it online, it creates a massive challenge. And so we're heading into the holiday seasons. We're trying to figure out how to pull all this together. I want us to think not just of the holiday experience, but beyond that, to push it further. And I think Jeff Bezos said it pretty well. He said in the old world, you devoted 30% of your time to building a great service and 70% of your time to shouting about it. And in this new world, it inverts. And I said it a long time ago, before we're dealing with the pandemic, but here it is. And essentially what he's saying is people don't buy stuff, they buy experiences. So what is that experience? How does the experience happen? For many brands, they've been in this kind of world. It's like you'd be walking downtown, whatever city you live in, and there's a cool clothing store, and you go in and suddenly there's this master barista making the perfect double espresso or Americano. And it was interesting, right? You'd get this great coffee experience, you'd roam, you'd shop, you'd try things on, and it was great. Conversely, if you look at a different model, you could think about banking. This is a bank in Poland where they basically got rid of the lines and people waiting for their checking accounts and stuff like that. And it became a co-working space where customers could come in and actually get some work done, network with their peers. They could pop over and have a coffee. I mean, it was an amazing experience to have. And I think what happened in that moment is that many retailers forgot that a lot of customers' experiences happen digitally. They happen on their computers, on their tablets, and on their smartphones. And this, again, this great acceleration, this great compression has changed it. And we have to really think, what does this experience look like? What does it feel like? And I would argue that it's not even any more about buying versus experiences. It's about this new thought, I think, that services are actually the new experience. I mean, take the bank, for example. There is a physical retail outlet, but now when we start thinking about these experiences, we can think about them in very different ways. I mean, imagine having your banking like Netflix. Imagine being in a place where it is a subscription model. I'm not frustrated every month when I get my bills to see like, oh, how many transactions happened and what the costs were. I pay a small monthly fee for access to all the services, right? People have become used to this buying behavior. What are retailers doing in this space? People have given up this idea of buying one thing for a fee and paying a monthly service to have access to everything. And so how do we think about that? Is there an opportunity here for you to evolve beyond it? Because what I've seen is that a lot of businesses have been forced into innovation. And my favorite example of this is the local sushi shop that I could visit. It's literally down the street from me. I could probably point to it from here. A world-class chef. This person has been on Iron Chef. They have books. They're on the Food Network, the whole package. Very small restaurant, 50 seats maybe. They probably do 2 servings. And suddenly the pandemic strikes, shut down. Now they start doing things they've never done before. They're doing free delivery. They're doing free pickup. He's putting his food into an environment that he didn't want. He believes part of the experience is to have it there while you're in it. And taking it forward, what are some of these services? For example, they didn't do this, but they could if you just imagine a little bit. What if they did Sashimi Sunday, where every Sunday through a subscription model, you get this beautiful box of prepared sashimi? And what if there was an additional service where they sold instructional videos, interviews, interactions, how to cut it, how to prep it, how to make it just right? Suddenly you can start seeing that whether you're small, medium, or large retailer, the ability to actually innovate is there. And it's happened. It's happened here while we've been through this. And I think that I wouldn't call it the frustration of the consumer, but the reality of the consumer is when this starts happening, free delivery, free pickup, online courses, subscription models, the questions we have isn't, thank you so much for doing it. It's where were you before? Now that you need this to stay in business, are you going to keep it after? Will this forced innovation move through once we have some sense of normalcy? It's not just small retailers. This can scale up in a very, very big way. So we have a very big national chain up here. I'm sure a lot of you as retailers know it, called Canadian Tire. It's a very unique model where it's a franchise model. So each store is actually owned by an individual and they work together as a cohort and franchise. It's a very, very different model. But here I found myself at the beginning of the pandemic stuck. We have 3 young kids and we thought we got to get stuff for the summer. So we went out and got scooters, and I went online and I went to find things. And of course, even in places like Amazon, the deliveries on this stuff at the beginning was, weeks and weeks, if not months away. And then I started thinking about retailers that I didn't spend much time with, in particular digitally. And Canadian Tire was one of them. I just didn't have the need. Sure enough, 3 scooters. Sure enough, a better service. I could just pull up to the store, dial a phone number, sales associate comes out with the 3 scooters, drops them in the trunk, completely contactless. Off I ride into the sunset. And I'm not saying they weren't doing this before, but were they doing it at scale? Were they doing this in a way that made it very, very powerful for me? And so suddenly you are forced as retailers to think very, very local, both in your advertising and how you communicate, and also just in the environment. The environment has changed so much that we're thinking about things in a very local way, even though we are a national or multinational brand. And so my hope when I saw this was, one, I hope that this sticks, and I hope this curbside pickup is available at scale and gets better and better and more improved. Will it be rolled out to every store? Will the customers want it? Will they keep it going? Or if the world does change, will they go back to the way it was? These are all services. These are services that fundamentally people might pay for and might be engaged with. I want to tell you one last story that I think brings this all together. It's a small retail story. It's a small retailer based in Tarzana, California. It's called Norman's Rare Guitars. And the music instrument business has been going through tremendous turmoil long before COVID-19 came into place. We've seen a lot of bankruptcies, a lot of fragmentation, a lot of challenges. And there's this store that sells rare guitars. So some new stuff, but mostly the older and the rarer stuff. So one small retailer in Tarzana, California, owned by one individual, Norman Harris. This is Norman. Norman is 71 years old. And he's run this business for a long time, and he's a real aficionado on the guitar and understands it well. And his environment is very incredible, beautiful guitars, and it's attracted some very famous people. People like Tom Petty, when he was alive, would come in and try out guitars and sit on his couch and just noodle around. People like Joe Bonamassa, very famous blues rock guitarist. People like Richie Sambora, who was the guitarist in Bon Jovi forever, and many, many more. And of course, the sales associates are looking at all this and going like, Norm, we should film this and put this on YouTube. And like literally Norm is in the headspace of like, what is the YouTube? You know, anytime someone says the YouTube, it's problems, right? It's trouble. And he sort of kept hearing about it, and eventually caved and said, fine, let's try it. Asked a couple of his friends if they would mind being shot, and they took out, standard smartphone and just shot away and uploaded these videos to YouTube. Now, you're smart. I don't have to tell you how the story ends, right? These videos go incredibly viral. And so if we hop over to Norm's YouTube channel right now, you can see it's true, right? He's got over 180 million views, over 450,000 subscribers. I mean, this is a small retailer, one store in Tarzana, California, but he's telling an incredible story. He's telling it with incredible people, interesting people who are really passionate about the products. The sales associates in the stores are very passionate about the products. But it didn't get this big because of famous people. That actually isn't the story. It's the passion for the product and the service. And so the passion is people like myself who might walk in with my 12-year-old son who might be playing guitar. And suddenly the kid picks up a guitar and he's a wizard. And so this is an amazing way and moment in time to build your story, to have people really connect with who you are and what you do. But it evolves. It can evolve into direct response as well. As the popularity of his YouTube channel took off, Norm started introducing the guitar of the day. And here's one of his sales associates recently playing a Fender Stratocaster 1979, a blonde, if you will, beautiful guitar. And this video's got, 20,000 plus views on it. Now you would think, okay, that's fine. But here's the thing. When this guitar is shown in the guitar of the day, it gets sold within a couple of hours. Not in the store, but somewhere in the world. He's built a global customer database, a global fandom, a global interest. People subscribe to it and they want to see what's going on. And when they like the guitar, they don't hesitate. They jump and buy. Guitar pricing for vintage guitars is similar to art. It's just gone through the roof and has seen no form of recession yet. I mean, we'll see what happens in a couple months, but right now things have been booming for them. So I want to thank you so much for your time. I really wish we could be there in person. Obviously we can't for now, but I'd love for you to stay connected. I'm going to give you all of my information, how you can contact me, my email address, everything. You can go right here. I kid. Yes, you can Google Mitch Joel. I am there. But this is actually all of my contact information. I hope you have an amazing time at Think Retail. I want to thank my good friends at Google again for inviting me to speak with you for a short while. I wish you great success in the coming holiday season and beyond. Just think about disruption, the opportunity. This is the great compression. Enjoy your time.
Hi, my name is Lawrence Cole, and I lead teams that work with our mid-sized retail and CPG customers. You heard from Justin earlier on how consumer behavior has changed, and these kinds of insights have been vital to many of our customers. But how are retailers really adapting, and where are they seeing new growth opportunities? In my work with retailers, I've heard that navigating this time has been hard, but also freeing. Changes you've wanted to make have become prioritized or even urgent. And this has accelerated innovation in your businesses. enabling you to be helpful and relevant to your customers and find new ways to grow. Like by finally upgrading your e-commerce experience across app, mobile, and desktop. By moving from manual media planning to embracing machine learning to reach customers. And by making your organization and marketing more agile. The pandemic has accelerated all of this growth and change, making retailers more future ready. For example, I work with a lot of CPG brands who faced shutdown or disruption of their major sales channels. While terrifying, this gave them the freedom and power to rethink how they were servicing their customers. One such company was Vitamix, a family-owned business that sells market-leading blenders based in Northeast Ohio. As physical stores shut their doors and large internet retailers stopped moving non-essential products, their traditional avenues of sale began to vanish. My team partnered with Vitamix's executives on a pivot towards e-commerce and shopping automation. Not only have the company's e-commerce sales grown 500% compared to the same period last year, but Vitamix was able to meet its end-of-year e-commerce target by May. So there is an opportunity for retailers to not just survive, but thrive in this moment. As we approach what will likely be the most digital first season yet, retailers realize that e-commerce is now critical for continued growth into the holiday. So how do you lean into e-commerce as a growth driver for your business? Today, we'll talk to some of our retailers about how they accelerated digital when it mattered most, and how they're continuing to use those strategies going into this holiday season. We are all excited to share some of these stories with you today.
Hi, thanks for having me. So Lululemon is a technical apparel company founded in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada in 1998. We've since grown to global presence around the world. My role at Lululemon is Director of Digital Marketing, where I'm responsible for omni growth of revenue and guest acquisition.
Let's address the elephant in the room. How was Lululemon affected by the pandemic?
So we were impacted by the pandemic in a lot of ways that other retailers were. Our stores closed pretty much globally within a 2-week notice period, which put significantly increased pressure on our e-commerce business and as such our digital marketing programs. And then at the same time, we also saw this amazing opportunity, which was an increased demand for at-home workout content.
With these pressures and changes from the pandemic, how did you use digital to respond?
So I think the way that we responded to the changes brought on by the pandemic can really be bucketed across a couple of different areas. So the first being content and distribution. So across our YouTube channel, we had already planned for some extra content to be made, but once we saw the macro trends of consumers really flocking to that as a channel to look for ways to work out at home, we started creating content faster. The other thing we did within this channel to help prioritize what we were doing is really leverage search insights to determine what content should be made first. So after seeing a spike for things like yoga at home and beginners yoga at home, we were making and optimizing our content towards those queries. The other side that we looked at was product and how we could sell more product faster. So one of the projects my team ran was looking at what we called trending products. So leveraging insights within GA360, as well as some of the trending keyword insights we have access to, we were seeing things like what product was trending outside of the norm. So we might not have planned to promote it or planned to put marketing efforts behind it, but for some items like especially joggers and certain colors of joggers, we were able to see that there were more people looking for those and more people interested in them. And so we optimized our creative and amplification accordingly.
Your digital acceleration really helped you be ready to capture the moment. What results did you see from this?
So looking at YouTube specifically, we've actually had a YouTube channel for a long time, but as a result of the changes we made combined with the impact of COVID, we saw an 89% growth in our YouTube subscribers. Something like 950,000 hours of YouTube content were watched during our first quarter, 25% of which were driven by advertising specifically. One thing as well we looked at was within our YouTube analytics was not only what videos are driving watch time, but also what videos are driving watch time of other videos so that we can ensure that we're making more content like that. So I think a lot of the strategies that we were doing were centered around what content we were creating on YouTube. And when COVID started, it was a massive amount of people who were looking for at-home workouts that hadn't been in the past. And so by having content that answered those queries, we were able to reach just a net new guest in a different way than we had before.
And how has technology helped you with your marketing strategies?
So we actually have leaned into automation and machine learning across our paid programs for over a year. We were one of the first retailers in Canada to adopt full automation across search ads and DV360. I think this actually is one of the reasons we were successful through some of our paid programs through COVID, is because with automation and machine learning, you can just scale so much faster and you react to business changes so much quicker. So anybody who's been in digital for a few years probably remembers doing things like manual bid optimizations for device type and specific keywords and geos. And the beauty of automation is it picks up a lot of those really basic optimizations for you, which enables your team to spend a lot more time on like really strategic thinking and how to scale programs.
How did you work with your Google team to be ready for this moment?
So we really see our Google team as an extension of our own team. So through like regular touch bases, talking fairly openly about what our business objectives are and needs, I think we're able to work stronger together. One area our Google team really supported us through this was the creation of like many dashboards that leveraged insights, so we could quickly escalate to C-suite when we saw opportunity. A good example of an opportunity we saw was a lot of our product insights that we were able to optimize creative and even like online merchandising strategy for.
Looking towards holiday, how will your approach this year be different than in previous years?
I think this year's holiday strategy is going to be, in preparation for holiday really, is going to be really similar to previous years, but just like massively accelerated. So a lot of the work that we do across performance marketing as an example is scenario planning. So what do you do if your competitive brand is bidding on your keywords? What do you do if your business does this? What do you do if gifting starts early? And now we have this added layer of complexity of like, what do we do if our stores close? What if we do if like certain things would happen as a reaction to COVID?
Thinking about what you learned navigating the pandemic, what is the one thing you'd recommend other retailers do to be ready for the holiday season?
I think what I'd recommend is like as much as you can automate it and leverage machine learning wherever possible. We have a finite number of people resources, and machine learning and automation really enables scale.
Hi Jay, great to have you here at Think Retail. Can you tell us a little about Petco and yourself?
Sure. Petco is a pet specialty retailer that's been in business for over 50 years. And we're dedicated to pet parents and helping them care for the health and well-being of their pets. My role at Petco is the VP of Media Transformation. So I'm really focused on the digital and data transformation of the company.
How was Petco able to transform to get pet parents what they needed?
Consumers really started to change their behavior and their needs. First just looking for e-com only options and delivery options. And once we understood that demand, we started to rethink our supply chain. And so not only did we want to offer e-com only delivery options, but thinking about our stores and that as a competitive advantage. And so first and foremost, we took our stores and extra capacity that was in the back of the stores and started to ship from stores. And this really allowed us to cut our delivery time significantly versus our competition. More importantly, we really understood that consumers wanted curbside pickup. And this has been an important new strategy for the business. Something that was in the roadmap, but was kind of 2 to 4 months away. We actually stood it up in record time in about 2 weeks, which was amazing to see the company react like that. And so once we had those options for consumers and then understood the unmet demand that was in the marketplace, we started to take a step back, work with Google, work with our data scientists, understand what that point of diminishing returns was for the business to invest into that demand. And this was a really important insight for us to have the data and have the data architected in a way that created predictive models for us to understand what was that sweet spot in terms of investment that allowed it to pay back within the next 4 to 12 weeks. And so, we really started to invest into key performance marketing tactics, search, and shopping in particular, and especially local inventory ads. And we really started to focus on price and convenience, and we saw the business respond.
What were some of the business outcomes from this acceleration?
Yeah, so we were really happy with the results, especially during a trying time like this. I think our ability to meet consumer demand really paid off. Ultimately, our e-com business is up over 100% this year. And a lot of that is just due to the fact that we understood the demand that was in the marketplace and invested into that demand and offered the right services that consumers wanted, especially our curbside pickup.
So how did your organization transform to meet the moment? How will it help you be ready for the holidays?
Yeah, I really believe that we've become more real-time marketers. And, this has been great to see. I came from kind of a packaged goods background where, we'd spend 8 months planning everything, putting it in, kind of perfect, what we believed was kind of perfect consumer positioning, and then launched it. And then a year later, we'd understand how it would perform. I would say that, we were more in that model at the beginning of the year, but now we can actually understand consumer behavior in real time and start to react in real time.
Thinking about what you learned navigating the pandemic, what is one thing you'd recommend other retailers do to be ready for the holiday season?
The most important unlock for us was having a really strong data strategy. And I can't recommend that enough for everybody. Not only do we have really fantastic first-party data, but we're able to connect that up to our sales. And so we can create that closed-loop attribution model. So you have the confidence to invest specifically the right amount of money that allows you to get the right return on investment or the right return on margin or the right CAC to LTV ratio. Was critical for us to have that confidence to invest properly into this moment.
Now I'll be talking with Luke Kygell about how Walgreens has transformed their marketing strategy to focus on their customers rather than specific channels to grow their business.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Luke Kygell, media lead at Walgreens.
Tell us about Walgreens' digital transformation journey and why digital is so valuable for your business as it predates COVID.
We are on a transformation journey in marketing at Walgreens, which honestly is really part of a company transformation towards digitization. It's grounded in the understanding of the changing needs and expectations of consumers and really evolving from a pharmacy retailer who has a digital offering to becoming a true omni-channel experience platform that's designed to meet the needs of our customer where and when they need it.
What did your marketing strategy look like at the beginning of 2020? And how has the coronavirus epidemic changed that?
From a messaging perspective, we were focused on ways of sharing that were meeting consumers on their terms. Customers are looking for the freedom to shop when and how they want, whether it be in-store, whether it be online. Again, that notion of omni-channel, physical, digital, the consumer doesn't care. People don't care. We need to offer an overall experience that is safe, that is convenient, and quite frankly, that's what people have relied on Walgreens for more than 100 years. We also pivoted our broader marketing initiatives towards digital to best engage consumers as people were adjusting to their new normal. We were all living very, very different lives with shelter in place and quite frankly, obviously unprecedented. And so our task was to determine and find the optimal way to actually reach consumers in that new normal and deliver them relevant experiences.
Meeting consumers' needs in the moment is crucial. How are you combining what you know about your customers and their needs with Google's local campaigns?
So at Walgreens, we have over 9,000 stores. 80% of the country lives within 5 miles of a Walgreens. We are truly, truly local to everybody. And with local campaigns, we're able to understand the need in a moment and really meet the consumer in that, like, I need it right now moment. One of the things that's been interesting in the current environment is we see shopping behaviors changing. And with COVID-19, people are consolidating shopping trips, and maybe there's a little less spontaneity, and I'm just gonna pop in and get this. I need my allergy medicine, I forgot my sunscreen, maybe less spontaneity. But even with that environment, local campaigns continues to be an effective tool for us, and we continue to scale it. With smart bidding, we deployed a series of test and learns incorporating the smart bidding technology with the T-ROAS algorithm. And as a result, we've essentially completely revamped our entire search strategy and our entire search approach. We continue to see benefit and we continue to scale accordingly.
What does future digital investment look like for Walgreens?
So it's less about, are you shifting from traditional and moving it into digital? And it's more about understanding what it is you're doing in digital that is more effective, and what is driving your ROI, and where is that contribution coming from in terms of the improved benefit. And quite frankly, it's all about how you deploy your data, what data you have to deploy. So it's more about understanding that and then taking those principles and applying them to what you do traditional. And essentially, digifying your traditional ecosystem, if you will. And again, you can't do that on your own. It takes, A, it takes a village, and B, it's really about evolving the industry in totality. And, we want to be at the forefront of pushing that forward. And we are, and we continue to look for partners to help us drive that.
So now we've heard how Lululemon utilized Google Insights to shape their promotion and content strategy around rising at-home fitness trends, inspiring new customers, and how Petco used data and daily decision-making meetings to fuel 10x growth and new e-commerce customers while cutting acquisition costs by 2/3, including launching curbside pickup in a matter of weeks. How Walgreens used local campaigns to communicate with nearby customers and help them plan their next in-store visit. And how equestrian clothier Ariat shifted focus to their online store, growing direct-to-consumer sales and increasing conversion by 300% year on year, and enabling them to keep their employees working. These are just a handful of the stories we're hearing from retailers like you about how you're transforming your businesses to get ready for the holiday season and beyond.
In today's episode, I talk with Bill Reddy about how Google is helping accelerate businesses' digital transformations to be ready for what comes next. So Bill, joining Google, one of the guiding philosophies at Google is to build for everyone. Can you tell us more about this vision and philosophy for you?
We want to make it so that any merchant of any size can bring their full inventory, have it be discoverable by the hundreds of millions of people that come to our platform every day to start their shopping journeys. With COVID, we've seen consumers shift their behavior dramatically, and in the last few months, it's equaled the last 10 years of e-commerce growth. And so bringing those tools to retailers, we know is more important now than ever.
So you're talking about free and easy. In April, your first announcement was to make it free to list products on Google in the US. Can you let us know the thinking, the strategy behind such a massive change, and how you think the reception has been so far?
As we think about shopping, we want to make sure that consumers can discover all the best sellers and all the best products and all the best values available to them, and that there's not something standing in their way. We announced a 70% plus lift in clicks on our shopping property as a result of that, and that's many more people finding many more of the things they need, and importantly, from a broader set of inventory and a broader set of providers. While we've seen every size retailer benefit, from the largest to the smallest, we've seen small and mid-sized businesses benefit the most.
And then the second significant announcement, even more recently, was to make the buy on Google checkout experience to be offered at zero commission. So again, can you let us know the thinking, the motivation behind the change?
We're not trying to be the retailer. We're trying to empower retailers with these tools, and free listings that allow a user to click out to the merchant site. As we present buy on Google, it's another option for that listing, but the user has the choice to say, if I know enough to make a purchase right now, I can hit buy on Google and complete that purchase. Or if it's a higher consideration purchase, or I need to know a little bit more from the merchant, if they need to know more, then we'll give them a really great handoff over to the merchant site directly.
As a former client and merchant, I remember how dealing with different platforms can be super challenging. I remember the fear of duplications, the complexity. So I know that this was on the top of your mind for you and your teams to make the new features as easy as possible to get started. How is it working, and can you tell us more?
We're saying to merchants, come as you are, bring the providers that you already use and trust, as well as things like inventory feeds, where we're opening up to more different feed formats, whatever feed formats the merchants are using already. We're saying bring those feed formats to us, and we're going to try to work with the existing formats you may have as much as possible.
Consumers are looking for more and more real-time updates when it comes to what's available in store, which products are available. For example, the searches for in stock grew by more than 70% globally in a week at the end of March, as people wanted to avoid shipping delays, shifting to e-commerce. So what would you say to retailers who still want to promote their local store inventory and how they can navigate all this?
So you've seen us make those available through local inventory ads, curbside pickup that can be highlighted right inside the local inventory ad. Buy on Google has a buy online, pickup in store option now as well. And we recently put new filters in for the consumer so that consumers can toggle and say they're looking for local inventory or they're looking to engage with small business. And so these things are helping the consumer express a preference.
So talking about the holiday season, more consumers are going to want to shop online. What would be your best advice as they prepare for the holiday season?
We're now making it very easy and free for the merchant to make their full inventory available. As we've seen with COVID, there's been a lot of interesting new things that have sort of picked up the consumers have had interest in, whether it is, learning tools for kids or selfie cameras, where globally that's up 300% compared to last year. I'd say that's one of the most important things. So as consumer preferences shift very quickly, making sure all your inventory is discoverable, and certainly promoting those things that you want to get the most traffic from, along with other immersive experiences that drive shoppers to take action. So for example, now you can use the same social assets you use across other platforms and plug them into discovery ads. And they bring the same visual inspiration to up to 3 billion people monthly as their window shopping effectively, but now window shopping online, scrolling through personalized feeds on YouTube, Discover, and Gmail. And so we're bringing the same inspirational mindset to all of our campaign types as well, which I think is another really important way to engage, as online is becoming an even more important part of the discovery process also.
What advice would you have for retailers and shoppers as they navigate as well the road ahead?
This is a long-term commitment from us. We really appreciate the partnership on all those things through this, and we're going to continue to make sure we show up to be a great partner on our side of it as well.
We talked about consumer trends and insights, heard from retailers like you about how they are readying for this holiday season, as well as how Google is helping make commerce more accessible for retailers and shoppers. Retail is retail year-round, and Q4 is a key capture moment. But so much of retail is about being ready to capture the opportunity when it comes. And the most important thing that a brand can do is make this a strategy and not just a reaction. Google is here to help you to be ready for whatever happens next. Now with free product listings, you can bring your entire product catalog onto Google so that you can be found this holiday season as shoppers look for the perfect gift or search for information about your store services. We're here to help you with actionable insights to grow your business and stay on top of changing consumer behaviors. We can help you take advantage of automated solutions that help you dynamically connect with hundreds of millions of people who do shopping-related searches each day on Google to your products across your site, app, or stores. Over the next 2 days, we'll have 3 hands-on sessions to help you tackle your marketing objectives. Google product experts will provide practical guidance on how to grow online sales, how to inspire and acquire new customers, and how to maximize omni-channel sales. So be sure to register and watch live to learn strategies that will help you be ready this holiday season.